Guys, it seems like the truth is stranger than fiction and everything is upside down, especially with Donald Trump's latest move inside of Syria. And in this video, we will take Donald Trump's announcement and show you how everything he said about these latest airstrikes is an absolute complete lie. And even as a Donald Trump supporter, I believe after watching this video, there's no way you could support him after this. If you think I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Watch this video and engage with me in the comment section below. But this video will also be important for people out there to counter the propaganda networks and the bloodthirsty mainstream media that is trying to convince the American people that this move is somehow justified and that there needs to be a bigger conflict inside of Syria, which is utterly insane. Alright, now to get started here, let's look at Donald Trump's first announcement when it came to these Syria strikes, point by point.
On Tuesday, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad launched a horrible chemical weapons attack on innocent civilians.
Okay, first point. How do we even know it was the Syrian government that did this chemical attack? There was no investigation. There is no evidence provided to the American people. And before the gas even settled, before people could even find out who was behind this chemical attack, Donald Trump just launched these Tomahawk airstrikes. It made no sense for the Syrian government to use chemical weapons, especially on the eve of peace talks. And the previous announcement by Donald Trump's administration a few days ago stating that they are no longer interested in regime change inside of Syria. Why would Syria and Bashar al-Assad jeopardize its existence when they were clearly winning the war against the rebels, and all they had to do is wait it out until they defeated them and would be able to exist as a state? We even know from the 2013 chemical weapons attack that it was not Assad, but Syrian rebels that have used chemical weapons before inside of Syria, according to UN officials. Donald Trump essentially believed on non-existing evidence that was given to him by the same intelligence agencies that told us that there was weapons of mass destruction inside of Iraq. And for some reason, he believed them. The Russians' explanation for this recent chemical attack makes more sense, since they are stating that it was rebels who were hoarding chemical weapons in a depot that then the Syrian government did bomb, therefore releasing the chemical weapons into the environment and causing this chemical weapons attack. That to me is a lot more plausible than the Syrian government deciding, you know what? Well, since we're almost done with defeating the rebel groups inside of Syria, let's make a really disastrous move that will jeopardize everything. Continuing on.
Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children. It was a slow and brutal death for so many. Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack. No child of God should ever suffer such horror.
Oh. The humanitarian aspect of this. Literally the argument used for decades to justify more war and more death of women and children, with no exception of Donald Trump. Now you have to understand, Donald Trump, when he entered office, he wanted to increase airstrikes against terrorists. His generals came to him and said, if we do increase airstrikes, they won't be as precise as they were before, meaning there will be more collateral damage, more innocent women and children and civilians who will die if the United States decides to increase their bombing campaigns. Donald Trump knew that and said, you know what? Let's just do that. And that's why we are seeing hundreds of people being killed right now in expanded airstrikes that Donald Trump personally called on himself, in which one incident in Mosul killed nearly 300 innocent people, including beautiful babies that were cruelly murdered in barbaric ways. Knowing this would happen, personally signing off on it and approving it. So don't you dare give me that argument and set up those images for your propaganda purposes like you care about human life when you clearly don't by your actions. Yeah, there's also that 8-year-old American girl that died under a military raid in Yemen that you personally called for.
It is in this vital national security interest of the United States.
National security interest? Really? When did the Syrian government come over to the United States and do anything bad towards us? You bombed a secular government that protects Christians and is fighting against ISIS. Interests that you even said during your campaign are shared between you and the Syrian government in order to truly defeat radical Islamic terrorists, and you bombed that country. Please, show me on this map where Syria has hurt you. What you ultimately did, and this is according to Ron Paul, former congressman and statesman, is that you helped ISIS and Al-Qaeda by becoming their air force. And by doing this, you bombed a Syrian airbase who was responsible for protecting a Christian community from ISIS.
As a result, the refugee crisis continues to deepen, and the region continues to destabilize, threatening the United States and its allies.
Do you know why we have the refugee crisis? Because of the actions that you are continuing yourself that have been followed by George W. Bush and Barack Obama, bombing and destroying countries like Libya, like Iraq, like Afghanistan, overthrowing their leaders, destabilizing their states, creating a vacuum of power, secular violence, all because the United States decided to bomb governments and overthrow their leaders in the Middle East, which you are continuing. And which you even admitted when you were campaigning, when you said that the world would be 100% better with Saddam Hussein, the former leader of Iraq, and Muammar Gaddafi, the former Libyan president, if they were in power. And your argument is flawed there, since you are continuing the same policies that have started the refugee crisis.
Tonight I call on all civilized nations to join us in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria, and also to end terrorism.
So you're going to end the bloodshed by creating more bloodshed and sending Tomahawk missiles. And how are we going to stop terrorism when you are literally going after the people who are fighting the terrorists? Donald Trump's policy ever since he took office has been the epitome of creating more terrorism, especially with the countries he has aligned himself with. Israel, which ISIS has never attacked, fully supports President Trump's decision to bomb Syria. So does Bahrain, one of the biggest countries that sponsors global terrorism, as well as receiving praise from Saudi Arabia, who, even according to Donald Trump when he was campaigning, is a major sponsor of terrorism all around the world. Saudi Arabia is the chief exporter of Wahhabism, extremism, and financer of global terrorism. Donald Trump's foreign policy ever since he took office has been cozying up with countries who are directly responsible for the exporting of global terrorism, meanwhile making enemies out of Iran, out of Syria, out of Russia, who have been fighting against them. And that is all a part of the plan, since he filled his cabinet with CFR globalists who are hell-bent on starting a war with Russia, and meanwhile were the same people supporting the Syrian rebel groups and Islamic terrorists against President Bashar al-Assad all the way back in 2012, when Barack Obama secretly authorized the financial and military support of these radical groups.
We pray for the lives of the wounded and for the souls of those who have passed. And we hope that as long as America stands for justice, then peace and harmony will, in the end, prevail. Good night, and God bless America and the entire world.
Excuse me, but what the pluck happened to make America great again and make America first? Because as Donald Trump has said himself in 2013, when Barack Obama wanted to do what he just did, he said, quote, "What will we get for bombing Syria besides more debt and a possible long-term conflict? Obama needs congressional approval." Is everyone seeing how incompetently our country is being run by watching this mess with Syria? Our leaders don't know what they are doing. Oh, and this one's my favorite. September 5th, 2013, Donald Trump said, quote, "Again, to our very foolish leader, do not attack Syria. If you do, many very bad things will happen, and from that fight, the U.S. gets nothing." From August 31st, 2013, when talking about Barack Obama trying to bomb Syria, he said, quote, "Be prepared. There's a small chance that our horrendous leadership could unknowingly lead us into World War III. And this is only his announcement for this. There's more information coming to light showing you how everything he said is absolutely filled with lies. The mainstream media is still pushing this propaganda, calling for more airstrikes, calling for a full invasion of Syria. This is not the end, only the beginning of a disastrous policy that won't only hurt the United States, but will hurt the entire world. We're also finding out that this decision came down by Donald Trump and was sparked by his daughter Ivanka Trump's heartbroken response to Assad's chemical weapons attacks. Now, if Donald Trump is making this kind of emotional response based on his daughter being sad, he should not have the freaking nuclear codes. We're also finding out that Ivanka's husband, Jared Kushner, had a huge role in this, and that Steve Bannon, recently kicked off the National Security Council, was against this. And when information came to light that Donald Trump sided with Jared Kushner, the hashtag #FireKushner became the top trending hashtag on Twitter as people realized what was really happening. Now, with this latest globalist neoconservative move by Donald Trump, he is losing support from his base. People like Milo Yiannopoulos, Marie Le Pen, Nigel Farage, and anyone else really with common sense right now is disavowing Trump for his illegal actions that he did without even congressional approval. This shows poor leadership and judgment, because right now, if ISIS and Al-Qaeda want to destroy the Syrian government and create their own Sharia state, all they have to do is keep launching chemical attacks on themselves, and the United States, without investigation, will automatically blame Bashar al-Assad and bomb him to smithereens, giving them their wanted Muslim state, while bringing us on the brink of World War III with Russia and China, who openly support Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian government. And some people in the alternative media have gone completely insane, and they're making up fake games of 4D chess in order to justify this idiotic move by Donald Trump. I'm hearing people saying, well, it's just a slap on the wrist. Well, this is only just going to happen once, and if he only just does this once, it's going to be okay. And no, you are being tricked, since the United States is warning of more missiles after this latest military strike. You're missing the bigger picture of how Donald Trump has filled his cabinet with globalist CFR members who are hell-bent on war with Russia. And we are seeing their plan finally being carried out and continued from the previous administrations that have ultimately created world chaos. There is no excuse for what Donald Trump has just done. You could hold on to hope for however long you want, but that hope is meaningless, especially with all the evidence provided and everything that Donald Trump has done with the buildup of this direct move, which we are seeing will be a clear escalation, a clear policy of moving forward, of neoconservatism, globalism, and ultimately not making America great again. People need to wake up and understand the reality of the situation, because only when we truly wake up and see the problem in front of us are we then only able to solve it. And I hope deep down we will, but it starts with first facing the truth. If this video resonated with you, share it. If you have any points that prove me wrong, please comment in the section below, and I will pay close attention to it and not only offer you my honest feedback, but an open mind to fully understand this entire situation. And to end this, I want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for going to patreon.com/wearechange and giving as little as $5 per month, making sure we could continue, making sure we could operate as an independent news team, especially during this latest crush of YouTube demonetization that has taken away 3/4 of our income. You are more important than you ever were before. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting us, watching, and being a part of this very important discussion.